everyone, how's everybody doing? So, welcome to this Is Mecha Possible or Are We Just Snorting Beam Sabers? I am your hostess Fiaura, and we are going to be talking about Mecha. Now this is going to be a little more complicated than the last video. I'm trying a couple different methods to see what works and what doesn't. In the meantime, we're going to dive right in. Hello, Tachikoma. I want to be a mech. I'm adorable. Slightly larger than a Ford Explorer, means of locomotion of accelerated ball joints, and it has a 7.26mm machine gun, a 12.7mm Gatling gun, and a 50mm grenade launcher. So, let's take a look at a clip of this particular mech so you guys can know exactly just what I am talking about. And we're going to take a look at a few clips of it, actually. But in the meantime, let's take a look. So this is how advanced their AI is. Their AI is advanced enough to formulate its own song and realize that it is going to be killing itself in order to save others. That's some pretty advanced AI. I mean, it really is. So, could you create motorized roller skates and achieve 200 kilometers an hour? Surprisingly, yes. But according to the manga, they weigh 2.2 tons. Okay? That's a bit heavy, isn't it? By a bit, I mean a lot heavy. That shouldn't. So the number on screen. That's how much force. Let me make sure that I've got this correct. Yes, that's how much force you would have to apply. 1,584,000 newtons. Roughly achieving a horsepower of insanity. How much horsepower? Well, we know that it takes 751 newtons to achieve 1 horsepower, or 745.1 to achieve 1 horsepower. So, how much horsepower would you need to achieve 1,584,000? Well, you'd kind of need a 2,125 horsepower in a 4-cylinder engine. That's kind of outside of the realm of possibility for us right now. Could you get maybe 93 kilometers an hour if you maxed it out? Yeah, you could do that, but you're not getting 200. Sorry, there's no way you can get a little 4-cylinder banger to output that enough horsepower to help you there. Sorry, just the truth. But let's take a look at what it can do.
I sent my surgeon on eating on a license plate. Not even a glass for the atomic surgery. It's turning into Tokyo markets.
This thing has to move like this.
The state holds the patent, and the producing area is restricted to TAR.
Pulling these maneuvers.
I sent my surgeon on eating on a license plate. Not even a glass for the atomic surgery.
You could, however, if I'm entirely honest, you could sit in it, yes. Just like they sit in it in the show. You could sit in the back, and it would move around, and you could even control it. Problem is, there's very little space for what's referred to as the buffer impact zone. That is the area of space inside of the vehicle to compensate for the concussive force of impacts. You get hit with a single rocket, your brain is going to be liquid on the inside. You're not even going to take very many light explosions in this thing. So, is it an armored vehicle? To the extent of which something that can resist a 40mm grenade is armored. Other than that, no. Now the question is, will we want the AI to be this advanced? Well, for a start, we've already had to shut down a couple AIs, including like the Facebook AI, due to them being that smart. I'm sorry. You're not going to want that AI. It's just no. Bad. But then there's this. Can they take damage? is the last little bit of this that we need to really look at. No!
You okay?
That looks like plain old steel.
Just a heads up that once it's across, it'll... That
is plain old steel. Probably reinforced considering their weight and measurements. I mean, steel works to construct it. You're only going to do 93 kilometers an hour. I'm sorry, that's the biggest four-cylinder engine we have that could make this thing go. But you could build it. You could build a Tachikoma. Like right now, we have the AI and everything you need. It's just a question of, do you want it? So now, we're going to take one step up. Who wants to be Iron Man? Who wants the power armor? Who wants to walk around and have somebody look down and go, I'm a battle suit from Battletech? Can we build it? Can we make it happen? Answer is, surprisingly, yes. Well, let's take a look at this clip from Appleseed. These are 10-foot tall mechs. You can see the relative size in comparison to a car, operated by a single human being using 30mm rifles.
Stop the tank!
That is some hefty firepower, some hefty armor protection, but let's see just how much armor protection we're talking about.
They're close.
I mean, what could they possibly be? So for a start, you have to have enough firepower to shoot down a gyrocopter. You have to have enough protection to protect yourself against the 20 mil, and then enough firepower to bring that down. Doable. Doable. Okay. Doable so far. Traveling at 200 plus kilometers an hour, I don't really think you can sustain that like they're sustaining it right now.
This thing.
That, on the other hand, I'm pretty sure the pilot inside is not okay. I don't really care. A fuel tanker explosion outputs the equivalent of a half a ton of TNT. I'm pretty sure the pilot inside is pretty damn damaged. Can they fly? No. No, there's no way. Those Appleseed robots come out, when put into CAD, to a lift-to-drag ratio of 2.7 to 1 when they are traveling at speeds of 200 kilometers an hour, which is about how fast you'd have to get it up to get it off the ground. That's worse than the space shuttle. It's likely made out of composites and carbon fiber weaves, hence why one hit, if it doesn't penetrate, you're fine. But as soon as it penetrates, it rips it apart. Can we build it? Yes, actually, we can build it right now. You would need the following. 2.1 tons of child armor from an Abrams tank. A rifle version of the A-10 Warthog gun. $2.2 million in hydraulics. A 1,400 horsepower engine. And a $3,200 computer to run it all. Oh. And one superhuman, please. Yeah, you heard me. One superhuman. Here's why. To handle what a power armor is going to output, you have to factor in what the human body can possibly take. Unregulated force evenly distributed across the entire body, you can withstand 277,000 newtons before you would experience total body failure. You can take up to 10 positive G's on a regular basis and up to 44 negative G's on a regular basis. However, 22 positive G's is enough to liquefy your insides. And 8,200 newtons of direct force will instantly snap any bone in your body. Taking this into account, how do we build power armor? You need to build an exoskeleton that is directly interfaced into the neural interface with feedback from our nervous system. Using this exoskeleton, you would train for years. Years, mind you. In order for the exoskeleton to accumulate to your body and your body to accumulate to it. Build up the muscle power you need in order to have the strength and raw energy to be able to move faster than a normal person. And it will take straining of joints and muscles and ligaments, and your body will definitely have problems later in life. But you could do it. But you need all the stuff I said and a person to train for 3 to 5 years to be able to function in the power armor. And the power armor has to compensate for the fact that it might stay intact, but the person inside needs to be absorbed from, damage, such as concussive force and impact forces. Explosions tend to be more force of impact than actual fire. But like bullets and most weapons still rely on kinetic force to do the damage. Or penetrating power. So long as it's resistant to penetrating power, small arms fire is not going to be a problem. But it's the impact force on the pilot itself that we have to worry about at this point. Less about if the suit can survive and more about if the guy inside is not turned into paste. Now let's talk about some medium-sized mecha. These are mecha that are, between 2 and 3 stories tall. But I'm going to be directly honest. I don't have to talk about these. We've built them! I introduce you to real-life prototype mecha that have already had a mech fight of North America versus Japan. Yep, they exist. Not quite bipedal, still on treads, but it's there.
Oh my god, I'm in a real life mech.
Inside the giant megabot.
Oh yeah.
So, that is an appropriate reaction. We can build them right now. They're having a fight in Japan of America versus the Japanese design team. However, I'm going to state this for the fact of the matter. Due to limitations in metals and limitations in how gravity works, this is likely as big as they will get. Will they get significantly more advanced? Yes. I fully expect to see a RoboCop fight one day. Speaking of a RoboCop fight, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. You see the size of those mechs? I expect to see them. And RoboCop is a power armor.
I'd put those guns down now if I were you.
Stand down. All right, now we're good.
Will we one day see, this? Probably not. But I know for a fact that we can build mechs of that size with the heavy 20mm machine guns and missile launchers and everything. We can build this. Can we build the AI like that? We probably wouldn't want an AI functioning, controlling this thing. It's just a human rights idea that if you're going to have people on the battlefield with that kind of firepower, there needs to be an actual person behind the trigger. They can carry the firepower of a tank. They aren't replacing tanks, though. In an open battlefield, a mech would be a large target. It would be easy to pick out, easy to shoot at, and easy to destroy with anti-tank or anti-robot style weaponry. However, in a city environment, it would be to its advantage. It would be much more intimidating. It would also have a superior view of the battlefield and be able to engage targets on multiple different stories, i.e. first, second, third, fourth, so on. Up to about the 5th or 6th floor, it would be on equal footing with those targets. Furthermore, because of the nature of a mech, shooting it once with a rocket, unless you kill the pilot, is not going to disable it in most cases. Unlike a tank, where as soon as it's penetrated, it's mission killed. A mech can have weapons blown off of it, can have additional external damages. It can even have one leg rendered non-functional. And it's not necessarily mission killed. It can still fight back and possibly even get back home. So, in an urban environment, yes, mecha would probably dominate. In an open battlefield situation, in a forest, in anything in which low profile means more, the tank is going to win. But let's move on to larger scale mechs. I'm not talking about those yet. We're going to talk about the Defender. Well, we're going to talk about Zoids first, and then we're going to talk about the Defender of the
Lena and
Universe.
Brad, don't stay behind me. Pan out, then charge the enemy Zoids.
Roger, Leon.
So, could we build Zoids? I mean, this is an important question. I think we honestly could.
This weak little Zoid team, boys.
Yeah, we'll just finish the punks off.
Let's go for it!
Can I get less banter and more mech on mech combat, please? You would definitely have something more center mass. And then let's talk about Voltron. Can we have a Voltron? Can this be a thing? Would it be practical? Is it a good idea? I'm gonna be entirely honest. As cool as Voltron is, Voltron is probably a bad idea. But let's get into why. So, can we do it? I have reservations. For a start, based upon speed, weight, and form of locomotion, the Alliance from Voltron and the Zoids would need a minimum of 2,291 megapascals of tensile strength metal. Currently, tungsten uranium alloy only has 2,201. Right there, you have a problem. And this is just for them to walk around and fire their weapons. This doesn't count taking hits, running, jumping, anything that can put additional strain. This is literally just for them to stand up and walk. We currently do not have a metal alloy capable of sustaining the weight. What you would get is the same thing that happens with a soda can. The metal would crinkle, crush, and as soon as the first little bit finally gave, the rest of it would clamp down and shatter into pieces as it compressed down into a block. Sadly, we can't build them. And I'm going to show you why. Oh boy, am I going to show you why. That is a wrecked mech.
What's wrong, Liger? Are you hurt? Lightning Sykes, get on your feet!
Takes damage. Parts start collapsing. Also, did anybody just see that thing just fly? Anybody else just see that thing just fly like an eagle? So, that Zoid is moving at 307 kilometers an hour. According to the show, that is its maximum speed. According to the show, it weighs 85 tons or 77.1 metric tons. To achieve a speed of that fast, we have to do some math. A lot of math, actually. And the math, it turns out, ain't that pretty. How should I describe this? It would need 851 million newtons of force, or 114,203 horsepower. 213.9, excuse me. 213.9 horsepower. Roughly the energy of 3 nuclear reactors directly powered into an engine. I wish I was kidding. I honestly wish I was kidding. But yeah, it needs close to 1 million horsepower. It needs over 100,000 horsepower, or nuclear reactors. And I can't begin to tell you the problem of having nuclear reactors in a combat vehicle on the field, unless of course we look at a nuclear submarine. You need a full team of nuclear engineers and nuclear physicists. Nuclear submarine has roughly 30 individuals of its 100-man crew whose sole job it is to look after the reactor. That's all they do, is look after the reactor. That means you're putting 30 people on that mech. Not one pilot. As far as Voltron is concerned, well, here's the bad news. Any robot you build is only as strong as its weakest link. Furthermore, having pilots in limbs that are moving at high speed is a bad idea. What I mean by its weakest link, if any of the joints where the lion bots are connected were to be hit directly and targeted and singled out, it is very likely that link will break. Furthermore, I do believe Venture Brothers has illustrated precisely what would happen if we had someone in the arm of a robot. I mean, that's about right. That's about spot on. Sorry, Voltron. Back to the drawing board. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. The one that you've been thinking I wouldn't get to. This one needs no introduction, because it is directly a part of my personal Weeaboo starter kit. Hello, Gundam. How are you doing today? First off, you're using an energy weapon underwater? A plasma-based energy weapon? No. Second is the bullshit that is Gundanium. And third, remember how I talked about Zoids collapsing under their own weight with just 2 legs? Imagine if we doubled the amount of pressure on each leg. Now, for a start, I don't know why anyone thinks that this knocks that thing out. But anyway, it can't exist. First off, beam sabers would look like overextended plasma torches. They could exist. However, if you put them underwater, plasma torches don't work underwater. For us to use plasma torches to cut into a submarine, we have to create a seal between the sub and the recovery vehicle, and then drain the water from between that seal. It wouldn't work. It just straight up would not work. But then we get into our next little bit here, and that is their weaponry. Now, I'm sorry, but if your mech explodes like that when it's shot, that's a huge problem. The music, by the way, is provided with the video that I got for this. One shot destroyed multi-million-dollar piece of equipment that's irrecoverable. Something's wrong. Now, the other problem here, well, no, just no, heavy arms might be my show. It might be my mech. But no, you are not carrying 4 Gatling 120mm cannons and expecting that to fly with me. The recoil alone would output so much force back into the arms that after a few seconds the arm would just fly off. Lastly, Gundanium. I must debunk this immediately. And every single Gundam fan who watches just went, "No, please!" I have to. Metalguri does not work how you describe it. In a zero gravity environment, if you created a metal, it would be less dense and more brittle than if you did so in a normal or high gravity environment. To the point of which the Gundams being Gundanium just wouldn't exist as it's described. It's not about refining it in 0G. You need to actually refine it in high G. That means we need to go establish a colony on Titan or Europa or somewhere where the gravity is heavier than Earth's in order for the metal to be more dense and therefore more refined and therefore harder and harder to break. Gundanium, as it's described, being refined in zero gravity, will be one of the most brittle metals in existence and might even collapse under its own weight upon arrival on Earth. Second is the military application of Gundams themselves. Anything over 2 or 3 stories tall is a giant target. Air superiority wins battles. Still wins battles to this day. You can't tell me that giant flying robots are going to be more efficient than jets moving at Mach 19, flinging missiles from beyond the point at which the giant robot can even engage. Furthermore, you can't tell me those ground giant robots aren't giant targets either. Simply put, this is the reason why Voltron, Zoids, and Gundams are just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you little Gundam. I'm sorry you can't be a thing. Concluding thoughts. We could build a Tachikoma, not to the specifications of Ghost in the Shell, but we could build it. We might even be able to construct power armor and use it. It would just be incredibly dangerous and would need lots of refinement, as well as extremely specialized training. Who knows? Mechs might even replace tanks for city fighting, but are never going to be the main frontline field holder. Zoids and Voltron, maybe, and that's a big, massive maybe. And Gundams are as fictional as Gundanium is to unobtainium. Just never going to happen. Anyway, let me know what you think. Talk, comments below. Everybody, I'm opening the door. Let's find out. In the meantime, from my house to yours, this has been Fiaura, and I will talk to you guys soon. As a matter of fact, this afternoon. Good night, everybody.